And I want to share a little something with you. And I draw this from John Edmonds' What is Truth? And it was published in 1859. It's just a very small book, maybe about 60 pages or so. I'm thinking about making a copy of it for the Independent Spiritualist Association. But he tells us that when we ask for truth, we receive it according to our ability to understand. Which kind of makes sense. Because I brought in that video, that webinar that I saw with Neil Thies, and everything he said just kind of with everybody. It's not that you weren't ready for the truth, it just didn't make sense to you. So I kind of explained some of the points that he was making. So truth will always come to you in a fashion that makes sense. And because it always comes to you in a fashion that makes sense, it's fluid. It's changing. Because how you interpreted things last year is not the same as how you interpret things this year. Make sense? Yeah. Anybody have any comments or questions they might like to ask? All right, then. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you. All right. Well, we're going to move into the seance portion of our class. And I know seance is just a big fancy word for circle. But, you know, the word seance has all this mysterious vibes about it. So, and I can feel them here. They just start coming around. It's like as soon as I start making my notes at home, I can feel them moving about. You had a question, Beth?
Mm-hmm. Are they here already?
They're always here.
You want me to ask it now?
It's up to you.
I wanted them to tell us about karma.
Karma. Very strange when you step in. It's like move in from the back. It's like watching a video, stepping into the suit, which just kind of flings around. And I can tell you that this particular one comes from a very old time. Yes, I come from a very old time. Your question was karma. Karma is so misunderstood in this culture because they talk about bad karma, good karma. And unless you are producing the proper reading material, you will not know that karma simply is. Karma is the waves after you drop the pebble into the pond. Karma reaches out far beyond yourself. It affects not only the person next to you, but it affects the person several blocks away from you and several miles away from you, across the entire world. This is why the teachings are that you do not own the fruit of your actions, because your actions spread out beyond your conception. The only thing that you can own up to is the act. And that is the only thing you can be responsible for, is the act. not what happens after the act. Culture here is based on violence, so I will use a violent example. Beat upon someone. That beating is you. You are the one beating them. However, what it does to them is not yours. Their body will swell up. They may lose consciousness. They may have a bizarre experience in this consciousness, but that experience is not you. It's not yours. It is theirs. The only thing you are responsible for is the beating. And it comes to this. There's way too many things here I keep bumping into. Someone take this, please. Thank you. That very action right there, my picking that item up and handing it to someone, that is my action alone. What happens to that item afterwards is nothing to do with me, but it has everything to do with the person that accepted them. That is karma. Does that hold true for you?
I'm not sure. What I thought was a karmic experience was something I felt like I had no control over. And while my brain said, don't do this, my body said, you have no choice but to do it. And then I learned from the consequences that followed. Does that make sense? Was that a karmic experience?
There are two types of memories that they speak of. There's the memory of mind, and then there is the memory of body. You might see them as being one and the same, but they are not. The nature of mind has one nature of its own, and the body has its own nature. What does the mind hunger for?
For me, more learning, more knowledge.
Yes. What does the body hunger for?
For me, nurturance, sustenance.
Sustenance. Two totally different parts of the whole. Your body has its own memory. Your mind has its own memory. This is why we taught meditation, because in meditation, you bring the two together as one, as they should be. Sit in meditation, and most of you sit in meditation. Do you not feel a sensation on your skin that tells you to scratch?
Yes.
Yes, that is the nature of the body. The nature of the body is movement. If the body is not moving, it is against its nature. So it does things to cause movement because that is its nature. The body hungers because that is its nature. It hungers for food, for sustenance. Have you ever become so immersed in your studies that you forgot to eat? Yes. That is the nature of mind. to ignore the nature of the body. Are you familiar with the saying, when you sleep, you sleep. When you eat, you eat. Do you know what that saying means?
No, I've never heard that.
It means that the two are one. When the body sleeps, so does the mind. When the body eats, the mind eats also. When the mind eats a raisin, what is it about the raisin that entices the mind, that feeds the mind? It is the texture. It is the flavor. It is the sensation. The body and the mind are one. When you eat, you eat. You enjoy all the relative sensations that you are consuming. The texture, the flavoring, the subtleties. That is when the mind and the body are joined. Most of the time you spend your lives, the body is off doing its own thing and the mind is off doing its own thing, and you're apart. Seek to be unified, yes. In order to unify yourselves, you must recognize mind and body. Today, if I recall the memories of this one, today they call mind, or rather this one calls mind, a non-local event. We knew that from the very beginning, because in our teachings, mind is either in the future or in the past. Very seldom is mind in the present. Body is the same. It's either in the past or in the future. Now, you may be wondering, how is it the body can be in the future? Go from one place to the next, and you have no recollection of how you got there. That is how the body is in the future. Do you understand?
Thank you.
Very good. In the higher teachings, I want to say in our culture, but you are not familiar with our culture. But the teachings that have made it into the manuscripts are very few. And the reason why they are very few, because teaching can only occur in one way. You must experience it. Consume your food this evening. As you take a bite, note its texture. Note its flavors. Note the seasonings that went into enhancing the experience. Note all of this. Don't just put it in your mouth and read your paper or watch your box. Don't just do that. That is the body eating and the mind is elsewhere. Do you know what mindfulness is? Mindfulness is when the body and mind operate in unison. One of my future teachers often spoke of a story. And the story went, this woman, this old woman, and we didn't teach women because we were not enlightened. We were still struggling. We were learning. But this old woman, this old hag, came to the teaching and said, I want to learn. And the teacher said, next time you wash your dishes, pay attention to what you are doing. And the old woman said, what do you mean pay attention? They're just dirty dishes. What am I going to learn from this? And the teacher tells her that note the temperature of the water. Note how the water feels against your skin. Note the texture of the rag that you are holding. Note the feeling as it rubs against your skin. Note the wood of the plate as you are holding it. Note the texture. That is filling the mind. That is mindfulness. The mind is not tomorrow or yesterday. The mind is right here, right now. The body is not yesterday or tomorrow. It is right there. The two must work together. They must cooperate. And as they cooperate, the mind becomes filled with the body, and the body becomes filled with the mind. Do you understand?
Thank you.
This is very high teaching. If I were, let me see if I can simplify it for you. Take your hands and hold them up. Everybody, hold up your hands. Note how they feel. Note the air around them, how it feels. And now, bring them together. How does that feel? Do you feel the stinging? Do you feel the pressure? Do you feel the sensation as it moves through your arms? Do you feel that information as it moves through your body into your brain? Can you sense that?
Yes.
That is mindfulness. That is karma. When your hands came together and that sound emitted, that was the act. That is all you can claim. But that sound, as it echoed outward, is not yours. That sensation you felt moving up your arms into your brain here is not yours. That is the karmic effect of bringing your hands together. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as bad karma or good karma. Because there is no such thing as good or bad. There is only one thing, and it simply is. And your understanding shall expand rapidly. There is only the one thing, and there are many facets of the one thing. When you meditate, focus on the one thing. Anything that moves through mind is of no consequence. It is mind's karma. Anything the body does, there's no consequence. It is the body's karma. But when the two act together, you have surpassed the karma of mind and body. Then it is the karma of soul. When you act with intent, I believe is your term. When you act with intent, that karma is karma of the soul. That regret that the soul may experience is not bad karma. It is awareness of the karma that took place. It is a recollection, a memory. As it grows and expands, your awareness moves into the future and into the past. And the both are one. The past becomes present and the future becomes present. This will take some time for you to comprehend. Do you have a first? Do you understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Good. Good. Is there another question? Then I will bid you farewell. There is another that wishes to come through to explain something very different.